Volcor is a land of fire, lava, volcanoes, and dragons, of mysterious and haunting beauty, dreadful and terrible war, and of things that entice only to burn at the touch of power, of course. When Legend Story Studios was creating the world of Rathe, they stated that they wanted every region of the world to not only be unique, but recognisable. And when it comes to Volcor, there is one thing that makes it stand out: fire. Like all lands, it has its legend lore. Long ago, when the world of Rathe was untouched by human hands, it is said that the great and mighty beast gave life to the land now known as Volcor. Beneath its claws, the ground turned to stone, its gaze gave life to rivers of flame, and with its breath, the very air became dry with the heat of a blazing fire. It carved out a home for itself between the rolling fields and the wine-dark sea, decorating the land in its likeness. Over time, the beast grew tired and sank into its own land. The great and mighty beast left tiny creatures to watch over the land, and in exchange gave them fire blood. It is said that the beast still sleeps on, encased in rock, a living lava trapped in stone. With tales of mighty beings being part of the land itself, one thinks of other creatures of elemental ferocity, of Ivor, the mighty ancient of thunder and ice of the land of Volthaven, and of Davnir, ancient of earth and lightning in Candlehold. But this beast sounds not like an ancient of Aria, but of a mighty dragon. We have heard tell of dragons before. In a tale of Kasai, no smoke without fire. The dragon. It awakens. Great dragon. The dragon has returned. All at once, the villagers around her fell to the ground, trembling, wide eyes bright within their pale faces. She has returned to us, the dragon. For while the tales of Aria were tales of ice, earth, and lightning, the tales of Volcor will be of dragons and their fire, of ash illusions and ember-filled air. For the land of Volcor is quite different to the land of Aria. The land looks blackened, dry, and arid. The eruptions of volcanoes fill the sky with dark smoke. Ember and ash flit through the sky, thick and subtle in the air like pollen in woodland, yet trees are dark and dead. Any foliage low-growing and stiff, thick bracken ready to catch and alight. There are creatures who live in these badlands. The verlin, large birds of prey, fly up high with wings of burning flame, cutting through the dark skies. They stay up high, only descending to deliver a message of the royal court, who use them to contact their generals, or to tear at their unsuspecting prey. Then there are the ink-black longma, fur-covered mounts whose nostrils expel dense smoke. Their demonic appearance betrays their usefulness for long-distance travel, as they store the heat of the land and use its energy to power them forward. Even stranger are the lava fish, the ryoki, who swim through the lava itself. They thrive amongst these conditions, their black scales catching light when they break from the surface, jumping from stream to stream as they make their way through the criss-crossed lava streams of Volcor. More dangerous creatures also dwell here. Amongst larger bodies of magma, the Apophis, mighty serpents with barbed scales, feasting on those unfortunate enough to be caught in a lava flow's path. And lastly, the wisp-like morrows, puffs of smoke brought to life by the ether. Subsisting on embers, they flit through this land of flames, an essence of fire forced into half-life. Indeed, ether, the stuff of magic and spells, lays innate within the bloodstream of Volcor wizards, drawing power passed down through an ancestral bloodline, linking back to the first emperor of this land. Many who live within the palace of the royal court have this affinity. The palace sits high on the banks of Mount Volcor, far from the conflict and unpredictable lava flows that often destroy whole territories in the rest of the region. The emperor himself possesses the gift of ether and is said to be the most powerful wizard in Volcor. Below him is a constant struggle for power, where conflicts are fought in hushed whispers. Intrigue and a word in the ear of the emperor can prove as potent as a knife in the dark, but both have their uses. But it is perhaps war, almost as much as flame, that defines this land. The people are constantly at war. Generals head into battle against one another over such noble aims as territory, borders, loyalties and revenge. The words and whispers in the halls of the Great Court translate to the suffering and mutilation of those who fall beneath the blades in this never-ending struggle. War itself has begun to shift further inwards, and tales of uprisings grow. Stories of a young ninja, a hot-headed man who spearheads a revolution against the Imperial court, spread amongst the common folk. A new power is growing in Volcor, the power and ferocity of those with little to lose who have suffered under oppression. While new heroes abound, lest we forget the great Rathe of Ether, the man who brought our first glimpses of this land, who taught us our first lesson in lava. Kano, descended from nobility and with the power of dragonfire within his veins, a cunning trickster with a gift of the ether. It remains unclear what role he will choose to play in the uprising that is taking place in the lands below the Imperial court. Kano gained the gratitude of the Emperor himself for his deeds. Such gratitude could translate into great power, but one struggles to see Kano content. Indeed, one struggles to see the Rathe of Ether settle for anything less than the throne itself. But it is not just Kano who hails from this land. Another made her home there once, the sellsword Kasai, once daughter to a general of Volcor, and as eldest child was due to inherit her father's legacy. But as we've learned, while in other lands such things are set in stone, in Volcor the heat cuts and melts through rock-like assumptions. Her father was overthrown by his own lieutenant, but she escaped with her life, leaving her family behind. This is but a short lesson of this land, with more emerging from the flames. The revolt of Fae is about to play out in the next release, Uprising, alongside the appearance of an illusionist of ash, Dramai. And what of Icelander, and her journey into the Forgotten to discover her past in the land of Volcor? How can a wizard of ice be associated with a place of burning fire? But we should fear, above all, the legendary dragons of Volcor. And what will they mean for the wars playing out across the lands of Rathe? But these are tales and stories for another time. Thank you for listening to this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a little while since I made my last video. I've been very busy. I managed to qualify for the Pro Tour, and I will be traveling to New Jersey and New York in a couple of days' time. Once that's finished, I'm hoping to dedicate a bit more time to the channel. I really want to cover a lot of the new lore coming out of Uprising, and also really focus on Icelander's story. We'll be getting some more lore snippets from the Classic Battles release. I'll hopefully be doing a video on the lore book that's released with that. One of my most popular videos is on Dorinthia and the conflict with presumably Rhinar in the Savage Wastes. So it's really great to see that Classic Battle set being released, because that video is a really important one to me because it was my first video ever, and it does really well. It seems to be one of the first things that comes up when you search for Flesh and Blood lore, so it'd be great to do a follow-up on that. Subscribe to the channel if you want to get more content in the future. I think we're going to do a few more videos, and we'll probably be doing some vlogs over the Pro Tour, just checking in and saying how it's going and giving you an insight into what that's like. But for now, thank you again for listening and for watching, and I'll see you next time.